You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
Well, the U.S. drug czar, Gateway Gil Kerlikowske, is on his whirlwind tour, trying to convince everyone that we need to maintain prohibition. And most recently, he touched down in Milwaukie, Wisconsin, home of Miller Park. Yes, Miller Park. So, they were in Milwaukee and spoke with the police chief there, Police Chief Edward Flynn. This went down Wednesday night at Marquette University's law school. And they spoke about this new third way. This is the whole Kevin Sabet, Goldilocks, just right way of maintaining prohibition. And, I've been talking about this forever. And Flynn, the police chief, commended this third way policy as the director of the White House's Office of National Drug Control Policy, a.k.a. Gil Kerlikowske, a.k.a. the drug czar. And they say is the third way emphasizes treatment, prevention, and scientific research over the criminalization and enforcement that has characterized the war on drugs policy since the 1970s. By the way, if you look up the budgets, I've got a great graphic for it on my Pinterest account. By the way, I've built a board on Pinterest called Drug War Graphs, or I don't know, Drug War Images, I think, something like that. Anyway, you can check my drug war data. I'll post that on Pinterest, but there's one up there of the drug war budgets of the last term of George W. Bush versus the first term of Barack Obama. And the ratio of law enforcement versus treatment and prevention was actually more balanced under Bush than it has been under Obama. Obama has maintained a 3-to-2 ratio of law enforcement and interdiction versus treatment and prevention. That's in the budget, folks. I mean, organizations can say all the things they want to say. You want to find out what they're really all about, take a look at their budgets. So Gil Kerlikowske got up and spoke of his 21st century approach that looks at drugs as a public health problem rather than a criminal one, and said, quote, "You can't arrest your way out of this drug problem," end quote. And yet we're still doing it. We're still arresting people. We agree. Stop the arrest. That's what legalization's all about. Stop arresting people. The police chief added, quote, "We in the police have learned over the last 20 years that we're not at war with anybody," end quote. All right. So to illustrate this point that we're not at war with anybody, I decided to look stuff up because, that's what I do. And so I just went to the Google and I asked the Google, "Oh, Google, great oracle of all things known and unknown, please show to me some statistics for marijuana arrests in Milwaukee, Wisconsin." And the Google brought to me this very interesting website. It's called who'sarrested.com. And on this website, they post mugshots of people who have been arrested for various things. Mugshots available from the public records and usually up on the websites of various metro area county sheriff's offices. In fact, my own home county, Ada County, Idaho, is among the ones up there, as is Milwaukie County, Wisconsin. So to take a look at this, I decided let's take a look at the mugshots of the people who've been arrested for marijuana in Milwaukie County, Wisconsin. And we're going to limit it. We're going to limit it to just less than 25 grams. Less than an ounce, right? An ounce is 28 grams, right? So we're even talking like 7/8 of an ounce and less, right? So low-level personal amounts of marijuana. And for the sake of time, because we are a 1-hour show, we are going to limit our look at these mugshots to just the people who are arrested from January and February of 2012. Now, for the sake of the racial balance on this, what I've done is I've broken the mugshots down to people who are black versus people who are white. The blacks will be on the screen left and the whites will be on screen right. And in the middle, people who are neither black nor white. Hispanic, Asian, whatever. And it's a crude method, I'll agree. comparing that to bars for their representation in the county by population and their representation in the state of monthly pot smokers. Now, as we begin, the mugshots are pretty even. The blacks, the middle, and the whites are all pretty much even. We're getting the same number of mugshots to take a look at. We find that 7.9% of monthly pot smokers in Wisconsin are black. 10.4% of the population in Milwaukee is of other races. And, oh, looky there. We ran out of white mugshots already. They went by really quickly. So there we're starting to run out of the Latino, Hispanic, Asian mugshots, which actually, compared to their use of marijuana and their share of the population, the non-white, non-black people are represented in our arrest mugshots fairly proportionally. But as you can tell, the white population and the white pot smokers bars continue, as does the black population bar and do the black mugshots. And it is important to know that these are just the mugshots from a public website of people arrested for small amounts of marijuana. These aren't official statistics in any way, although I can guarantee you look those statistics up and you will still see this glaring racial disparity. And to be fair, we're using very crude and subjective judgments as to who in these photos is non-white and non-black. I may have made a mistake there, so please forgive me if someone in the middle column is actually black or white. I may have made the mistake, but it's really just to make this point. These population statistics are from the Milwaukie County census stats. We count the non-Hispanic whites as white. The label for blacks is directly from the census account, so we count that variable for them. We find that blacks in Milwaukie County make up 27% of the population in Milwaukie County. And compared to what they make up in the marijuana arrests, you will find that if the black mugshots for less than 25 grams of marijuana were proportional to the black population of Milwaukie County, this is the point where we would have run out of mugshots. But as you can see if you're watching our live screen, the black mugshots continue without a white mugshot or Latino mugshot to be seen anywhere on the screen. Now, also notice we've run out of black population bar. All we have now is the bar for white population and for white pot smokers. We ran out of the white mugshots a long time ago. There were 11 of those. So the black mugshots continue. These are the people that we're not making any sort of war on, according to the Milwaukee police chief. There is no war going on in this war on drugs, even though every one of those men in these photos is someone who was arrested and booked and now has a mugshot that's publicly searchable. Didn't take me too long to find it today when I was putting this together. Now, the stats for pot smoking, these are coming from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. It's called their RDAS from 2002 to 2011, and you can reduce that to just the whole state of Wisconsin. There is some variability in the data. There is a margin of error, but generally speaking, these are the rates at which white people versus black people versus Hispanic and other race people are using marijuana. Milwaukee County pot smoking numbers might be different than these state level numbers, but generally black people and white people have similar rates of marijuana use and frequency, usually about the same, depending on what level, what economics and so forth. And it can vary, but again, there's usually not much racial difference when we look at blacks and whites. Latinos use marijuana less than they are proportionally represented in the country, and Asians very rarely use marijuana compared to their proportional representation. And you also have to consider we're only looking at the people who have admitted to smoking pot within the past 30 days to a government researcher in an anonymous phone poll. So there might be some variability there too. Some people might not want to be so honest about their pot use. And the black mug shots keep ticking on by. Now, the white people in Milwaukee County make up 54.2% of the population of Milwaukee County. If the mug shots were proportionally represented based on the population, this is where we would have run out of white mug shots. But of course, as we mentioned earlier, we ran out of white mug shots. There was only 11 of those. So we ran out of those a long, long time ago. Now, we are still looking at a green bar on the far right side of the screen. That still represents the proportion of white pot smokers in the state of Wisconsin. And if the mug shots for the less than 25 gram marijuana arrests were proportional to the white pot smokers in Wisconsin, we'd still be scrolling past white mug shots, not black ones. But again, the only faces on the screen right now, for those of you listening to the podcast, is a continuing stream of black faces. People from January and February of 2012 who were arrested for marijuana in possession of less than 7/8 of an ounce in the state of Wisconsin, in Milwaukie County. These mugshots are all available on a free public website that allows for searching by name and through most major metro counties. So if you've been put on this website, good luck trying to get a job. The next employer that's going to be searching through your resume or searching through your applications, going to plug your name in, and right there at who'sarrested.com, a fancy little mugshot showing that you are a drug criminal. And the cycle continues. And some of the arrests from this listing are not even included because they didn't have a mugshot. So it's likely that this segment would have been even much longer if I'd included all of the people who didn't have a particular mugshot between January and February of 2012 on this publicly accessible website. And the black faces keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And this is what's going on in the war on drugs. You also may have noticed how few of the mugshots were of females or people older than 35 years old. That's because, well, at least in Milwaukie County, the arrests for marijuana possession in low amounts are for young black men. And in the state of Wisconsin, 83% of monthly pot smokers are white people. 83% of the pot smokers in the state of Wisconsin are white people, but as you can see, we see no white faces when we get to the 83%. In fact, we end up with 2 more black mugshots than the proportion of white people in the whole state of Wisconsin who smoked marijuana this month. So Gil Kerlikowske, Police Chief Flynn, you're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling the people in the community that realize what this war is all about. You can get this graphic on my Pinterest account, pinterest.com/radicalruss.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
Hey, stick with us for hour 2, Toker Talk Radio. We got lots to talk about. Brian the Red's with us as well. We're going to have ourselves a good time. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.